Simcha, celebration, Simcha, Simcha, celebration of life.
Hi, and welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm your host, Aharon. The month of Tishrei is the most spiritually rich month in the Jewish year. It's filled with festivals and special days and is a time to fuel up on the spiritual resources of awe, teshuvah, connection, joy, wisdom, and commitment. Sara Evian discusses the significance of this special month.
The Hebrew months in the Jewish calendar are filled with meaning and insight. And if we are able to look into the Kabbalistic formations of what the months are, we're able to empower ourselves with the energy of the month. So Rosh Hashanah is the month of Tishrei. It's the first month of the Jewish year, and it's really the most powerful month. Because we learn in Kabbalah that the beginnings of things contain the whole DNA of them. It's like a fetus. Everything in the fetus will develop over the 9 months. The color of the eyes, the color of the hair, the height of the baby, all of it is in the DNA of that egg that is growing. And so we learn with Rosh Hashanah and the whole of Tishrei, actually, everything in the whole year is contained in a concentrated form in the month of Tishrei. And because of that, Tishrei is the most powerful month of all. We've just come from the month of Elul, where we cleaned out our vessels. And so we are now open to receive the newness that becomes this month. Rosh Hashanah literally translates as the head of the year. Rosh is a head and Shana is a year. And what that teaches us, like with ourselves, our head, our brains, are the control center of our whole body. If I want to move my hand, a message goes from my hand to my brain and back again. It's the brain that contains the whole directive of who I am. And so Rosh Hashanah is that for us. And Tishrei is also that for the whole year. The whole month of Tishrei is an envelope which contains the life force of the whole year. And so if we enter the month with concentration and with intention, our whole year can be empowered with goodness and with living out our full potential. So Rosh Hashanah is actually the 6th day of creation, and it is a commemoration of the creation of the human being. And we celebrate it because the human being was the end result of creation. It is us who are the most powerful thing in creation. We can affect things and we change things, and it is up to us to change the world. So Rosh Hashanah really is a day where we are given the raw materials which we use for the whole year. And how we affect the day is how open we are to receive that energy. And the most important thing about Rosh Hashanah is that we don't place ourselves in there. We try and take ourselves out as much as we can so that we can be fully open to receive the energy that's coming for the whole year. The month of Tishrei is not only Rosh Hashanah, it's the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is our time of deep intimacy with God. And then we have the 8 days of Sukkot, or 7 in Israel, which is a time of real joy. And we learn from this that relationships are not only about awe and respect, but it's also about love and joy and sharing and being open. What's interesting about the month of Tishrei is that the sense that is healed in Tishrei is the sense of intimacy. Every month has a sense. Elul was about searching, and Tishrei is about intimacy. And intimacy really is man's search for unity. We are searching for unity with God, and we are also searching for unity with our own self. And so the whole month is filled with intimacy, different kinds of intimacy. Rosh Hashanah is about being open to the newness that's coming about. Yom Kippur is about standing there in white as if we are angels in the chamber of God's throne. And Sukkot is about the intimacy of dancing at a wedding and being filled with joy and song. The letter of Tishrei is a Lamed. Lamed is the only letter which extends above the line. And that's teaching us that in the month of Tishrei, we are able to soar higher than ever we can at any other time. God's heavens are open for us. It is a time of real intimacy where we really, really let go and we allow ourselves to be as close as God as possible. It is so much a time of closeness. It is also a time of awe, because as we know, the time from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur is a time of tshuva, of returning, and it's about fixing up the things that we have done wrong. But the sign of Tishrei is Libra. It is a sign of the scales. And that's telling us it's very much about balancing us out, about where we are soaring to and where we are grounded. Soaring up above is not healthy in our lives, because we are not here only to sit on a mountain and meditate and get close to God. We are essentially here to fix the world and construct in a healthy and good way a universe that is functioning and is joyful. So I bless us this month that we are able to really take ourselves out and be an open vessel to receive the life force that's coming to us on Rosh Hashanah for the whole year, and that we can carry this forth through the 10 days until Yom Kippur, that we stand in oneness on Yom Kippur, and that we walk out of that space in joy and gladness, with our arms open in the sukkah, being embraced by the goodness of God, and that we are able to hold this and carry it through for the whole year.
Welcome back. As part of their ongoing quest to ensure nutritional security for the recipient families, the Jewish Food Fund, Yad Aharon and Michael, have embarked on another innovative project called Yad's Soup for the Soul. Every Tuesday and Wednesday, the soup kitchen provides a welcome cup of hot kosher soup with accompaniments donated by the local kosher restaurants and shops in the Joburg area.
Yad Aharon and Michael is a leading Jewish food fund in Johannesburg. It's over 20 years old, and the main food project is that we distribute food hampers to needy people in our Jewish community in Johannesburg and in surrounding areas on a weekly basis. And in addition to that, we have various food projects for our recipients to benefit from, and they have access to these. And one of the food projects, the newest and latest innovation, is Yad Soup for the Soul. So it's a bi-weekly soup kitchen where our recipients are welcome to come and have a nice, delicious hot cup of wholesome soup together with a pie or a sandwich. We have a menu, and it varies from week to week.
Yad Aharon and Michael has been in existence for over 20 years, and my involvement with the organization spans 18 years. And in that period of time, the level of poverty and destitution that I am currently witnessing within our community is simply devastating. And the Soup Kitchen has been a project that I've wanted to initiate and to establish within the organization for many years. And over the last while, I've noticed that a lot of recipients are actually eating from their food parcels on the premises. And it came to my attention that certain families were going to soup kitchens run by church groups in order to get their nourishment. And that was when we decided that the time had come for us to establish such a project.
So when we decided to launch the soup kitchen on the 5th of May of this year, we had to look at a number of things. So we couldn't make the soup on the premises, so that's why all the Johannesburg donate the soup. The majority of the other foods we also get donated, but often we need to purchase, and from our donors and our donor base, there are many donations that have come in specifically for the soup kitchen so that we can purchase whatever we need to add to or to supplement and so on.
We're trying to help much as we can. We love to help them because we know they're doing a great job. They feeding a lot of family, and we love to be part of it, and it's our pleasure to be part of it. Whenever we can, whenever they ask, we're there for them, and and we're trying to help sometime for function, for a birthday for children. Weekly, daily, Jewish holiday, Rosh Hashanah, Hanukkah, whenever we can.
My ambition in life is to try and give pies and soup and whatever I can give to people who are starving, who haven't got any food. So that's my first love. So Yad Aharon really typifies that, and I like to give to them because of that reason. And that's the cause I believe in. Well, the Eden College phoned me and asked me if they can come in and just as a class project make pies, etc. So I thought it would be a very good idea if we can combine the two, and maybe they can make a fundraiser to raise some money for Yad Aharon. And I thought it would be a very good idea if they come in and make pies, and we sort of combine the two together.
Our main initiative, which is the weekly food parcels, we cater for 550 families. But for the soup kitchen, we look at between 280 and 320 people per week. The reason they're fewer is because a lot of the parcels get delivered by volunteer drivers, this is the food hampers, to the recipients' homes. Some do not want to come here because they want to for confidentiality reasons. Other people don't have transport, or they might be elderly people. So the soup kitchen is a project for the people who present themselves here, but they're welcome to bring their families and their children and enjoy.
It was a hit from the very first day. Jody and I were a little bit worried that, how will people feel coming to a soup kitchen? It really is associated with real poverty, and we were concerned how our recipients would respond to such a project. Well, we didn't have to worry because they just welcomed it with such open arms, and they asked us why it wasn't done before, why we waited so long. But the medium-term project is to make the soup on the premises. Jody has got a list a mile long of ladies waiting for her go-ahead to come and chop and make, and so that is my ultimate aim, to make it in-house and to increase the menu to not just being soup for the soul, but meals for the soul. We decided to call it Soup for the Soul because that's exactly what it is. Yad Aharon and Michael is primarily a food distribution organization, but really it's the heart of Yad Aharon that feeds the soul. And the nutritional component that the organization provides is just one part of our service. Our recipients come here to socialize, to mix with one another. A lot of them are lonely, so the organization is really a home away from home. And the soup, soup ordinarily is associated with comfort, and the organization established this project in the name of Jody, Wendy and Gavin's late mom, who was an icon in the world of chesed. She was a very, very generous lady who really was committed to helping the underprivileged. And it was fitting for this project to be named in her honor. So every time we serve soup at Yad Aharon, I have no doubt that her soul benefits greatly.
Following the sin of the golden calf, Moses pleaded with God to forgive the people. Finally, on Yom Kippur, they atoned and Moses brought the second set of tablets down from Mount Sinai. From that day forward, every Yom Kippur carries with it a special power to cleanse one's mistakes, both individually and collectively, and to wipe the slate clean.
Yom Kippur is normally associated with a very solemn, serious, intense type of experience. It's a day that many people dread. They look forward to it in a type of anticipation that it'll be over soon. We've just got to get through this day. And yet, that misses something very precious. What is really precious about Yom Kippur is that it is about what all human beings crave more than anything. It's about a relationship between ourselves and God, our Creator, and a relationship between us, human beings, connecting to God and connecting to each other. And the thing that really messes up relationships is when we do something wrong. We disappoint, we let each other down, we make mistakes, sometimes we do it on purpose. And then there's a lack of trust, a distance that develops between the two parties. And Yom Kippur, more than anything, is called the Day of Atonement. Yes, this is true. But more than anything, is about bringing back a connection, a deep connection between ourselves and God and between us and our fellow human beings. And we shouldn't shortchange it, we shouldn't shortchange ourselves. And what it really is about re-establishing trust, re-establishing that connection, realizing that even if we are not perfect, there is a place for us in God's world, that He doesn't reject us. That is, in fact, is the difference between the first tablets that were given at Mount Sinai and the second tablets. The first tablets, they reached the level of angel-like existence. Moshe goes up the mountain, and then, of course, the golden calf, that terrible, idolatrous mistake. 40 days, another 40 days, begging and pleading with God, and eventually Moses comes down the mountain with a second set of tablets. The second set of tablets are the ones that endure. They're not broken, they're not shattered. They are the ones that symbolize for us a relationship that is strong enough to deal with mistakes, with all kinds of human existence. Yom Kippur is saying that God will love us and care for us and look after us, even if we make mistakes. Obviously, it's not so simple. There must be a genuine commitment to try and be a better human being in every sense of the word. But underlying it is to know and to value that God never abandoned us, that He never gives up on us, and that we shouldn't give up on ourselves. Yom Kippur is about the true value of a human being. And when you value yourself and you see the true value of yourself, then you can start to see the true value of others. Because yes, up to now we've spoken about the relationship between man and God, man and man, but what about the relationship between ourselves, me and myself? What do I think deep down of myself? Do I truly believe that God loves me? I remember once a visiting rabbi came into our shul, our community, and he said, put up your hand if you think that God loves you. And very few people were prepared to put their hand up. And that shows something, that somehow deep down we think that we've disappointed we've let him down. And yes, we'll get on with our lives, but there's no way that I can be religious. There's no way that I can be godly because I'm just not good enough. And that's a terrible mistake. Yom Kippur is about affirming that you are good enough. You are good enough in the eyes of Hashem, in the eyes of God, and you are good enough in the eyes of those who really love you. And so, as we're going through Yom Kippur, we're not eating. Yes, it's difficult. We're not drinking. But that's because we're involved in something more profound. And that's coming to a sense, and I know this sounds strange, but it's absolutely true according to our tradition. We're coming to a sense of joy. Because there's nothing more joyous than to know that you are redeemed, that you can start again, that it's not all over, that there's a deep connection that can somehow ride through the mistakes and the disappointments. And so as you go through Yom Kippur, look around and ask yourself, have you ever heard or said, what you did to me is unforgivable? And there are some pretty terrible things that people do to each other. And it's not easy to necessarily forgive. But if we are going to say to somebody that what you have done to me is unforgivable, then what God is going to say is what you're doing in my world is also unforgivable. They shadow each other, they mirror each other. But our fundamental attitude has to be that we can forgive each other, to bend and to forgive and to be kind and to be generous with your spirit and yourself. That is really what Yom Kippur is challenging you and me to do. And if you can do this, even to a small extent, you have successfully gone through a day which is not a day to be frightened of, but a day of self-discovery, a day of joy, a day of reconnection, a day when you can let go some of those things that are holding you down, pulling you back, destroying and taking away from your sense of joy, your sense of freedom, your sense of connection. Just let those things go. Discover another type of self. I'm not saying that you're going to change so dramatically, but even if you can do it a small amount, a small percentage, there will be a difference. You will walk away lighter, freer, happier, ready to face the next year, ready to connect to God, ready to connect to your fellows that are so important to you.
Pirkei Avot, or Ethics of Our Fathers, contains timeless wisdom. In chapter 5, verse 11, it says, "There are 4 types of temperaments. One who is easily angered and easily appeased, his virtue cancels his flaw. One whom it is difficult to anger and difficult to appease, his flaw cancels his virtue. One whom it is difficult to anger and is easily appeased is a chassid. One who is easily angered and is difficult to appease is wicked." Well, that's all we have for this week's episode of Simcha, a celebration of life. As always, we'd love to hear from you, so please send us a message on Facebook at Spirit Sister Productions. From me, Aharon Halevi, and the Simcha team, we wish you a Shana Tova and well over the fast.
Are the ones that